Google just announced the Play Pass, and they're set to take on the Apple Arcade. What's up, everybody? Brad here, back again, and Google is entering the gaming and, well, app subscription service model today, and they are coming out and, well, they're taking on Apple Arcade primarily, but it's also kind of hinting at Google or Microsoft Game Pass a little bit. But here are some of the details that you need to know. So it's called the Play Pass, and if you are outside the United States, good luck, because it's not currently going to be available there, although I suspect that they will roll it out eventually, but launching initially it is in the United States, and it's going to have a lot of stuff in it. It's actually 350 plus games and, like I said previously, apps. And so they're not just including games, but also popular applications will be able to enroll in all of this. And what it's doing is it's removing all of the crap that has ruined mobile gaming and mobile applications for the most part. You know that when you're playing that game and then an ad pops up, or it makes you watch a video where you have to buy some credits to get another role or another life. All of that is going away. And so it's for going to be, well, I should say roughly $5 a month, which we will get to here in a second. And what it does is you'll be able to download from a rolling list of games, and then it effectively authenticates you saying you bought it. And then you download it, and then you have no crapware, and you can just play games on your mobile device like you always intended, without all the interruption. Like, and there's some big games in there too. Like Stardew Valley is going to be there, and there's also like the popular Facetune application, which is obviously not a game, is included, and it's 350 plus games and apps. Now, there's some big differences here versus Apple Arcade. In the Apple Arcade, those games are exclusively in the store, or in the service, right? If you're not paying that subscription, you can't go get those games. This is more like Microsoft's Game Pass, where these 350 games and apps are in the Game Pass, or the Play Pass, if you will. But you can also go buy them separately if you end up liking it and you end up canceling the Play Pass. And so they're not exclusive. I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, more options for the user at the end of the day are great. And at roughly $5 a month, it's $60 a year for all of this content for everybody in your family. That is very similar to Apple Arcade. And the reason why I say it's roughly $5 a month is that if you are getting in early, if you sign up in the first 2 weeks, it'll be $2 a month for the first year. So roughly about $24 for the year, which is not a bad value. And I think this is going to follow a similar trajectory as the Apple Arcade. This is going to be great for people who have multiple family members, especially kids who like to play mobile games, right? That's not unheard of. That's pretty reasonable. But now what you can do is tell your son or daughter, hey, you can play any game you want from the Google store as long as it's a Play Pass title, and it'll download, and mom and dad will only be out $60 a year. That is a big win for the family. Same on the Apple side. It's a $60 for the year. It's a big win for the family. And just controlling cost in general, because we know that people love to go and download games, but then they don't just download the game, they do all the microtransactions and all of that stuff. In this way, I say this somewhat cautiously, knowing Google is curating this, there shouldn't be really poor games in there or things you actually have to worry about, like infecting your Android device or things like that, because that can be an issue. And so this is rolling out in the US, and it's called the Play Pass. I think this is a good model. And I candidly think this is where we're going to see a lot of game models or gaming services go to the future. We've already got Microsoft Game Pass on the Xbox side. Apple appears to have a success on their hand. At least early feedback shows that people are buying into Apple Arcade. And I suspect that Google will also see similar success from this model. Now, one thing I do wonder here is if this is following a similar business model, if you will, to the Game Pass from Microsoft, where applications that get put in there are going to see a pretty healthy rise in being uncovered. Because you can remember, one of the biggest issues of developing an app or a game right now in the App Store or the Google Play Store is discoverability, because you're competing against so many other apps, and this is a new way to get your apps just shown. Because if you're one of 350 apps where people can come and try you, it's much better than whatever hundreds of millions of other apps that already exist, and you're just getting lost in the search results. So then you got to game it in SEO. You know the story at this point. So I think this will be a big deal. The question becomes is, how do developers make money in this model? Because it's a new way of trying to monetize your application, and I guarantee that it's probably less on a per user base than a single, right, if you're charging $2-3 a game. But I suspect that they're going to go on volume here to try and make money. It'll be interesting to see how many games come in and out. Much like on the Microsoft Game Pass, where games come in and out each month, that is very much going to be the deal, I believe, here with the Play Pass from Google. Now, on Apple's, I believe they're already permanently in there. Now, they might try to sign deals much like they've done with Play Pass where things roll in and out, but at least so far, Apple has shown that their titles are exclusive to the store or to the arcade for the time being. So I honestly, I'm a big fan of this, primarily because it fixes the issues with mobile gaming. It's fixed the issues. Now, it's not going to include all the titles that you want, like Fortnite. I don't believe it includes Minecraft and some of the other really, really popular arena-style games, if you will, Battle Royale. But it's going to include a lot of just the casual, snackable games that are going to make your life a little bit better. The question becomes is where... See, I run into this problem with Game Pass because right now, let's just say the new Call of Duty just came out, right? It's obviously not in Microsoft Game Pass. I'm actually not buying it because it's not in Game Pass. I figure I've already got 100 plus games to play. Why would I go buy a separate game when I have all these other games I can play for quote unquote free? I think this is going to be a similar issue on Apple Arcade and the Google Play Pass, is if these new games are not in these services, they're going to become really restrictive on who is actually going to go out there and pay additional dollars outside of Play Pass or pay for those microtransactions. The reason why I'm bringing this up is if these companies are not careful, Microsoft included, this is really like anti-competitive, right? Because you got to imagine that Google is going to make money from this, Apple is going to make money from Arcade, and if they come in and basically say, hey, look, if you don't include in our service, you're not going to make any money. Now, they're obviously not going to just physically come out and say that, like clear language like that. That would be, they will not do that. Lawyers will not let that language out. But we know the story behind the App Store model now. It's no longer the gold in San Francisco, if you will. Everybody ran to it. They ate up all the cheap, easy resources, and now you kind of got to fend and fight for yourself. If you go look at the top apps, the paid apps, that is, they don't fluctuate all that much. It's always kind of the same guys always around. There's not, I say that with the caveat, I know it's not always true, but it's typically the same type of titles, same companies, whatever. You got to have a big budget. It's not I can create a 50-cent app and become a millionaire overnight like it was 10 years ago. All this being said, I do think that this is a good model going forward. It's just we have to be careful as consumers and gamers that we don't get locked in to this thing, because we'll have the same issue I have with Game Pass. It's going to be on mobile, and it's actually going to hurt more than likely the indie developers than anybody else, I would think. So I'm curious on everyone else's take on if these Play Pass and Arcade are good for the mobile ecosystem, if they're bad, what else they feel about this industry. I think you guys understand that I quite like this. I quite like how Game Pass from Microsoft has evolved. I hope that these titles will continue to evolve as well, because there's a lot of... By removing that barrier of knowing that you're not going to get crap ads, I think you're going to get a lot more mobile gaming, and a lot more mobile gaming is going to lead to better usage of the device, which is what basically Apple and Google want. It's also, you got to be careful too, a little bit of a lock-in, right? If you are way invested into the Play Pass, which it's kind of hard to do, it will be harder to switch to iOS. Now, I do think it's more inverse is true. I think it's much harder that if you are in Apple Arcade than it would be to go to Play Pass, because again, Apple Arcade apps are exclusive to the Apple Store and to that service, whereas the Play Pass, which I think has the better model, is 350 games that you can buy outside the service, but they're also included at that very tangible, honestly, $2 a month. It's very similar to, well, it's even... Game Pass is still a better deal if you look at the gold rollover and all that, but they had the $2 for the ultimate SKU. We know that. So the story here is that mobile gaming on Google devices, mobile gaming on Android devices, or Google devices, on Android and Apple devices is going to get better. It's getting fixed, and it's been long overdue. Google is talking about this. Now, don't forget, Google has an event coming up in about 3 weeks. It's I believe October 15th. It's right around the middle where they're going to announce new Pixel 4 and probably have some other hardware up their sleeve. I think they're going to do an update to their Wi-Fi routers, and they're going to be branded under the Nest stuff. And so I fully expect that the Play Pass will be talked about in detail. And it would not surprise me in the slightest that if, let's say, you buy a Pixel 4, that Google starts including it. Or if you buy their routers or something along that line in the Google family, that you will actually get some credits towards this. It's very similar to what Apple is doing. Remember, if you buy an iOS device, they're including Apple TV, I believe 1 year subscription with that hardware. So things are getting slightly interesting. Google's not going crazy with the Play Pass, and Apple went a little bit more crazy with the arcade, but gaming subscription services are here, folks. Microsoft has Game Pass, Google has Play Pass, Apple has arcade, and that is what you need to know.